Yeah, Ben, State Education Commissioner Miguel Cardona joined Governor Lamont at his afternoon briefing to talk about the plan for Connecticut schools. It's called Adapt, Advance, Achieve, and it represents a lot of hard work by superintendents and principals and teachers and parents and students and many, many others.
Anything that gets the kids back in the classroom is a plus.
In announcing the release of the plan today, Governor Lamont and the Education Commissioner pointed to a series of guiding principles, including the safety of students and staff and opportunity for all students to return to school full-time in the fall. But the governor said students will not be required to return.
Any parent or any child that doesn't feel comfortable going back into the classroom, we're going to make accommodations for them to stay at home.
For students who do stay at home and in preparation for the possibility of closures due to infection, the plan anticipates so-called blended learning, some at home, some in person. And to boost effectiveness, the state has set up the CT Learning Hub. Launching June 30th, the hub is described as a resource for, quote, curated, high-quality, high-impact online learning content for math, English, language arts, science, social studies, the arts, physical education, and more, anytime, anywhere.
This is something that a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we didn't even have on our radar, but we knew that having content was critically important.
The plan calls for easing students back into in-person classroom learning, but the plan doesn't stop with academics. Nutrition is also a major component. All schools that provide free and reduced price meals and snacks must continue to do so. On-site meal service will continue, and off-site meal service will be provided on remote learning days.
Just last Thursday, the American Academy of Pediatrics supported in-school learning because they feel that when looking at risk factors both inside and outside of the schools, that states should consider a plan that brings students back to schools.
And all of this, of course, on top of accepted health and safety guidelines, including social distancing, hand washing and sanitizing, face masks, and constant cleaning and disinfecting of the facility. Now, the plan has an exhaustive list of protocols spelling out what to do in various scenarios in case a teacher or a student becomes infected with COVID-19, those protocols based on CDC guidelines. Cardona also said the CIAC is working on a plan for sports. Guys, back to you.